The Capitals come home on Thursday. Should be one heck of a party at Capital One Arena Thursday evening. Cannot wait to be there. I know tens of thousands of you guys will be there as well. And in the middle of it at center ice will be the owner of the operation and the CEO of Monumental Sports and Entertainment, Ted Leonsis, who's kind enough to join us right now on the Rude Guest Hotline on the day after the greatest regular season day in Caps history. Ted, it's Grant and Danny. Thank you for a few minutes. What an accomplishment for the organization, for Alex, and for this fan base yesterday.
Thank you. That's very nice of you. And I have to say today, everyone is exhausted and earned a day off. And I think Thursday will be a wonderful day just to show gratitude to a historic player and someone who really loves the fan base and really did it for the fans. It's really a spectacular time to be a Caps fan and to show our gratitude to Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah, Ted, I think people may underestimate. I'd love for you to go into it. Some of the preparations for this sort of traveling road show as he's closing in on this record to kind of make this seamless. What I thought, just editorial, very classy and excellent kind of celebration of it when it happened in real time. What went into all the planning to be ready to go when Ovechkin did his thing?
Well, the league obviously has great respect for Wayne Gretzky, and Wayne Gretzky has great respect for the game. And, you know, he just made it really easy on us. He said, when Alex gets 3, 4, 5 goals away, I would like to travel with you and the team. And I just want everyone to realize that this man is most deserving of this record. And Alex made it very efficient for us. I mean, to score as many goals as he did so quickly. Wayne came to the game in New York, in DC, and then went to the island, and that was it. Right? Alex got 2 at home and then 1 on the road. Gary and I went to the Carolina game, and Alex scored 2 in DC, and then on the island. I was able to speak with John Ledecky. He used to be one of our owners and is a friend and is an owner up there, and they were unbelievably accommodating. I apologized, and they said no need to apologize. They gave us 7 minutes. That's what the league and they wanted, and it certainly went longer than 7 minutes. I think it went 22 minutes, but the local fans were excited to be a part of history. And then there were so many Caps fans, so many people wearing red, celebrating. So it was just a lovely day. And it's going to happen once in a lifetime, right? Alex, I believe, will play next year. He has 5 games left this year. He'll put some space in between 895, and maybe, as Wayne says, it takes longer to catch Alex. It was 31 years when Wayne broke the record. Alex certainly will commit to being there if anyone breaks his record. And the game is all about tradition and respect for the game. And, yesterday really was a big pivot going from Wayne to Alex Ovechkin, and our fans and all the fans in the NHL really appreciated it.
Owner Ted Leonsis with us on Grant and Danny here on your flagship home for the Caps, 106.7 The Fan. They come home on Thursday evening. We'll talk about those celebrations in a moment. Ted, the atmosphere on Friday was unbelievable. I was in the arena. It was, frankly, it rivaled anything I remember from the Stanley Cup. It was just absolutely amazing. I'm just curious for your thoughts on not only that night, but the way the fan base showed up on Long Island. You just referenced the number of Caps fans there. I mean, they really delivered, I think, down the stretch here, almost as much as Ovi. Maybe not to the same extent as he scored in, 6 times in the last 5 goals, 7 in his last 7, 8 in his last 9. But man, did this fan base rise to the occasion.
Yeah, we travel really well. And again, it's a testament to, what we've built as a franchise. You've grown up with Alex Ovechkin. I remember you, as a very, very young man, falling in love with the Caps because of Alex. And, we've got a generation of fans. and they see themselves in Alex. So what he's doing this year. He's second in the league in goals scored. He's missed 15 games, right? I mean, what he's doing is really not normal. It's not what was expected. But I have never doubted Alex. That's why I've said, we should never take this player, this man for granted. He's just built and he thinks differently than others. And, he came back. I remember at the beginning of last season, he was struggling. He had 8 goals. A lot of people doubted him. And then coming into this year, he needs 42 goals. No one thought that he could get 42 goals this year. He's still got 5 games left and so, he's just one of a kind, once in a lifetime. And what I'm most relieved on is that this is out of the way now. This was a big, big thing. The pressure on him and the team was global and intense. And now we can get back to playing hockey. The team clinched a playoff spot early, and all of the focus came onto Alex. And now we have to get back in the playoff mode. And Alex asked us to commit to him that we would build
I think Ted's phone's breaking up. Let's put him on hold and just make sure that we can get a clean line. Ted Leonsis, the owner of the Capitals, is joining us on Grant and Danny a day after Alex Ovechkin moved ahead of Wayne Gretzky on the all-time goals list. Heck of a party last night, by the way. Some of the videos coming out.
Absolutely.
Nice dinner that they had in D.C. All of his teammates, past and current, got together for dinner. And they'll have a much-deserved respite here for a few days before Thursday's game. So, Ted, as we welcome you back on, you said Ovi had asked for a commitment. Going to that, what was the commitment he was looking for?
I'll sign another 5-year deal if you promise me that we'll have a very competitive team, playoff team, a team can win another cup. And I don't want to be seen in my career as chasing a record. And I think it'll be harder to break a record like this without a great team. And it'll be more fun. And he's having a great time. That the team is good. And, we were the first team to clinch the playoff spot this year. We've been relatively healthy. And so now all of our focus, because he broke the record efficiently, can now go back to the team and trying to win another cup while he's under contract. So it's a great thing for him to have done and to do it. So now all the focus came back to playing hockey in the right way.
Yeah, I remember the 5-year deal worth $9.5 per year. When he signed it, there was thought around the league that it was a risk because of his age. And that's comical to think about now. But even going further back, at a time where it didn't happen, you guys gave him a record contract of 13 years and $124 million way, way, way back when at the beginning of this 20-year run here. What do you remember about that contract coming together with presumably yourself and Dick Patrick and whoever else was involved? And 13 years is such a long time. We see that in baseball with guys like Soto, but you just don't really see it much in sports. And any kind of nerves you may have had with the physical brand of hockey he played about that deal. Because the beauty of this, Ted, is every one of these goals has been scored rocking the red.
Yeah, I think you have to show loyalty both ways. And because he's once in a lifetime. I mean, these things aren't given away as candy. But, I did fly up and back with Nick Backstrom and TJ Oshie. And I remember at the press conference when we announced the deal, Nick Backstrom was with us. And he said, I want one of those. And, we gave him a 10-year contract. And those two contracts really have made us a cultural place to play. I mean, we've broken the code on treating our players in the right way, and players that come from other franchises basically feel we're differentiated. They have a different kind of experience here. And it starts from the top down. It's being passed on. Best example I can give you is Dubois. He's played for a couple of organizations. People thought he underachieved. He's a great talent. And he played in Los Angeles. He's traded here. 3 minutes after it's announced, Alex reaches out to him and says, welcome. You will love it here. Can't wait to meet you, play with you, and whatever you need, here's my info. And then Tom Wilson calls him and says, hey, I think we're going to play together. Give me your flight info. I'll pick you up at the airport, and my wife and I will show you and your wife, girlfriend around town. Welcome to the family. And he's having a great year. And he just feels that organizationally, we care about each other. We care about the right things. And now he goes and tells his players, right? And his friends. And so word gets out. And I talked a lot about being a have versus a have not organization. And I think, when you have the best goal scorer in history, who we drafted, was MVP of the league, leading scorer, leading goal scorer, breaks Wayne Gretzky's record, and he wants to be here, and he commits his whole career, that other great players want to replicate that. And so, it's a reason that we have such a strong record. But we know winning the cup is everything, and that's what our focus needs to go on. And, we qualify for the playoffs. We have one of the best records. I think we have the second best record in the league, although we haven't played very well the last half dozen games. And now our focus can be on collective again, as opposed to a individual. And that's try to bring another Stanley Cup to the fans of Washington.
Ted, and you mentioned the cup. I was trying to quantify this with some friends and family watching this experience. Ovi chase down this record. It's different than a team thing where in the playoffs it's every second you're hyperventilating, your heart's beating out of your chest because one bad bounce or one critical mistake or anything can sort of change the fortune of a series, and you're sort of living and dying. And then that sense of relief and euphoria when it happens. This was a different feeling kind of leading up to it. Yep. How would you quantify it from your seat, the great view that you had of this entire chase?
It was the happiest locker room I've ever been in after a loss in 25 years. And now, because we had qualified for the playoffs, and we built a big cushion, we could feel that way. But hockey really is players really respect the wins, playing for each other. And so this was a very, very unique, one-of-a-kind experience. Alex took photos of him with the puck with every single player. I've never seen something like that. Usually don't do that. Then he took a team photo and then was taking photos with all of the equipment people. Everyone knew this was a historic thing, and everyone grew up hearing about, knowing about, seeing the tail end of Gretzky's career. But because most of our players are in their 20s and early 30s, and Wayne broke Gordie Howe's record 34 years ago, it's mythical, right? And the people who have been around and then listening to Wayne, who was giving players advice, giving us advice, what Alex accomplished and the consistency with which he scored the goals were amazing. Wayne had 90 goal seasons. I think he had 92 one year. And his last year, forgive me if I'm wrong on this number, but maybe he had 14 goals. And Alex has 42 goals now, right? I mean, he's got the most 40-goal seasons. And, what he's been able to accomplish with the kind of game that he plays, his availability to us as a franchise, to his teammates, I think is in excess of 94%. So, it's just a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And the fans, the media, the players on other teams, the respect that he's been shown by the other players. Last night, the goalie for the Islanders came into the locker room and gave Alex the stick. That was a very, very nice gesture. He could have kept the stick. I'm sure sold it somewhere on, one of the sites. And, that Alex sends signed jerseys to goaltenders. You were my first. I'm sure he's going to send this goaltender. You were, $5.95. And there's just a mutual admiration society. And, it's just great to see. But it also helps create the Capitals in Washington, D.C. as one of the most important franchises in the NHL. And that's very meaningful to us. That's very meaningful to our fans because we've all invested a lot of time and energy and passion and money over the years. And, we've kind of built this together.
Ted Leonsis on G&D. You guys are underway already with I think it's $600 million renovations you're doing over at Capitol and Arena to modify everything. It's going to look beautiful.
800 to $1 billion, but who's counting?
Okay. Hey, you should know that number for sure. Better than I do. But I bring this up to ask, in those plans on that blueprint, did you leave room for a statue? Because I'm thinking, the stick up ready for the slapper. Danny and I were talking about this. I don't know what it's like around the streets, but there's not really anywhere obvious that you could even put it. Is that something you guys have thought about?
Yeah, we're going to have a statue garden, and there'll be our greats are there. Elena Deladon retired last week. She's a two-time MVP, WNBA, won a championship. She should have a statue. She'll have a statue. So we'll have a statue garden, but now we're going from 900,000 square feet to 1.6 million square feet. And we will have a gallery, a museum, a restaurant that's a sports bar, and have a lot of memorabilia, a lot of important artifacts in our past. And we've been curating to be able to celebrate, the great players that have passed through. But Alex is in a class by himself right now. When you break an all-time record in the league, and we've had MVPs pass through here. Wes Unseld is an all-time great, but for Alex to do what he's done, it can be debated. I'm certainly open for the debate, but I'd have to say he's the most important athlete in a professional sport in Washington, D.C. Certainly when we drafted him 20 years ago, I don't think that would have come into the conversation. And so he's earned it. His longevity, his body of work, his accomplishments, and what he's done for the community, and what he's done as a person, his charitable work, his outgoing personality and nature. He loves the fans. He loves the community. He loves the kids, right? What he gives back to charity, we're not scripting. He's doing it because it's organic and authentic to him. And every accolade, every statue, everything that he gets, he deserves, he's earned. And, I'm going to be forever grateful to him.
Thursday night, Ted, even though there were a ton of Caps fans up there on Long Island, this will be the first chance for kind of like DC area folks to be able to get in there and celebrate. What do you guys have in store for them?
Well, again, it's a regular season game, and there's television networks to be considered. So and one other thing I do want to mention, and I know it's going to sound funny, but Alex is under contract, and there's a collective bargaining agreement. And one thing that I have always said is I will never, I always want to do the right things in the right way. And while he's a player, we can have to do things within the rules. So there'll be a pregame ceremony, and the players will give him some gifts. We'll give him some gifts, but I can't give him a Rolls Royce.
I was going to say no Rolls Royce yet.
That was my follow-up.
Gretzky was elbowing you in the ribs pretty good on
now,
that
if you have a Rolls Royce, Ted.
Right. Now, after he retires, we can embrace him and do things. But Alex, I want him to be a capital for life, and we'll set something up for him where he'll know that the city and the partners and the owners and everyone appreciates and respects and loves him. But right now, Alex was invited on some television shows and the Tonight Show in New York to build his brand, to hype and celebrate. You know what he said? I'm exhausted. I want to show respect to the coach and my teammates. I want to rest. I want to get ready for Thursday's game and the sprint to the playoffs. I don't want to have to fly back to New York and come back. Yeah, it might be good for me, but it's time. And that's what you want from your captain. And, Alex knows how much we value him. And we don't want him thinking about anything right now other than I accomplished and broke a record that was never going to be broken, but that's in the rearview mirror for the time being. Now it's 5 games left in the season and then the playoffs. And you know how the playoffs are. Last year we didn't have a very good playoff. We qualified for the playoffs the last hour, the last moment we could, last play of the season, and Alex didn't have a great playoffs, and the criticism was high. And so he understands, we all understand that we're in this to win. We made the playoffs. That's the first step. And let's get all of the focus on that. The fans, though, I'm sure will show their undying appreciation. But there's more games this year and hopefully all of next season. So there'll come a time when we can really show him how much we love him, but it's not tomorrow.
Well said. Ted Leonsis is very gracious with his time. We'll let you out on this. Be remiss if I didn't bring this up. The news this week that came out was you said that you probably wouldn't buy the TV rights to the Nationals and stream their games unless you owned the team, which I got to tell you, shattered my dreams in the short term because I've long wanted a bundle of Wiz Caps and Nats direct to consumer. So we'll have to wait on that. But what they didn't ask you, or at least what wasn't part of that story, was whether or not the ship has sailed or if you're still interested at all in buying the Nationals. So I'm just curious where we're at on that.
Yeah, I'm forever interested. But the season started, and that should be a signal that, when the season starts, that the Lerner family is very committed and the team's really not for sale. The news on the network was a surprise. The media was reporting, a logical place would be for it to, for the Nats to come next season onto our network. But for those of us who are aware of what's going on in the local media space, there's not really an opportunity to pay another team on our network because we're not going to get additional dollars, at least not next year. So it was, this is a Rubik's Cube that still needs to be solved. And I think where the Lerner family is, and we haven't had active conversations, is they're rebuilding the team. They're excited about the team. The new season has started. They don't want any rumors, any hoopla about corporate developments. They want to focus on the team, and I totally understand that and respect that. Mark Lerner came to the game when Alex scored 2 goals, met Wayne Gretzky. I mean, we're close friends. I love the family. I'm going to be here. We'll keep the lights on, but there's nothing active going on. And, I'm going to go out and buy season tickets for the Nationals. It's hard to go to games, when Caps are still in season, Wizards are still in season. But I look forward to going and checking out the team. And, I enjoy going to baseball games. So I'm interested, but it doesn't seem right now that they're that interested. And I totally understand why.
Ted, thank you for the time. Congrats
Appreciate
on yesterday and this run for you guys, for the whole organization and just for the town. It's been neat.
Great. Thank you so much. See you Thursday. Bye-bye.
You got it. We'll see you at the arena. There's Ted Leonsis on Grant and Danny, the owner of the Capitals, the Wizards CEO of Monumental Sports. Forever interested, he said, about the Washington Nationals. But as we know, season's ongoing, and the learners don't seem to want to reciprocate.
Yeah, I'd like to buy it. It's not for sale. Okay. See you guys in the box.